and catch up on all this, because there's so many just terminology that I'm still learning between dispatch and reentry and all these words. And I just finished reading Jason Merrick's report from the detention center program, the Betty Ford grant outcome.
Commissioner, can you turn your mic on?
I'm sorry, I need to just yell too, it doesn't carry, my voice doesn't carry when it's on. But just wondered how it sounds like your program is, as you said, is you're trying to, do similar things, so we're all sort of working together. How closely are you working with Jason's program?
Very closely. We provide all the data, our software, for his, not the JSAT program, but for his DOJ CARE grant, and also the core grant through the state of Kentucky. So the two major grants that he has for expanding pre-arrest diversion and expanding naloxone distribution is we are collecting all that data, and then we are training his folks. We've trained a few folks at the jail, and anytime that we provide any type of training, motivational interviewing, ethics and boundaries, addiction language, is we invite the staff from jail as well. So we're working pretty closely. And I just had a 5-hour training today where 2 of his staff were there. So we're working pretty closely.
And you mentioned grants. Can you elaborate on what you would use those grant dollars for if you got them? I may have missed it.
No, absolutely. Transportation still is a barrier for us, but we did get a recent foundation grant. And so we're able to do an Uber Health account. And so anybody that needs to get to treatment, maybe they have an IOP appointment, even if they have a job interview after they're leaving treatment, we're going to use those dollars down for anyone in our 3 counties that needs them. We're going to use it as a pilot to track it to see how it's working. If folks need to go to other doctor appointments. I deal with this on a personal level, and so I can speak of it a little bit, that these folks are sick. It's just not the mental or the behavioral issues, it's the physical issues. I have a close family member that deals with this, and just catching her up on the preventative appointments has taken almost a year. My mother is about 9 months sober, and just getting her all the health appointments has been overwhelming. So to be able to link those folks, not even to the behavioral side, but to the physical health side, to really a holistic approach, is we're able to make those connections. We even get helpline calls about DUI classes. I need a psychologist. Do you have somebody who can talk to my daughter about this stuff? We've gotten a few calls about vaping recently. So we're able to navigate anything in that addiction realm, and then we're starting to branch out. And anybody who calls, my staff will say, well, where do we not do this? And I don't know if that's our scope. And I said, we're going to do the right thing. They're citizens of our counties. We're public servants. We're going to do the right thing and help them where we can. The other gaps I would look at would just be MAT. We need some more medically assisted treatment on the weekends and the evenings. So those folks that are ready to go, they may have some reoccurrences, they need to get in right away. Those are just some of the few gaps there. And of course, we're all talking about the affordable housing issues. Those would be some other gaps, but I know we have things working. In 2 years, we're going to look completely different. And I can tell you in the 2.5 years that I've been dedicated to this work specifically, we're night and day from where we were just in 2017.
I'm not sure how to ask this question, but may I ask one more? I make the assumption that everyone that's, involved in addiction is, spending time incarcerated. That's, the percentages are probably very large that never see a jail. Can you speak to those numbers? I mean, and you're trying to put those folks in places that can give them help, whereas our jail is trying to do that as well.
Right. What we're seeing is probably about 80% of the folks in the jail have either a substance use disorder or mental illness. Would you confirm that, Jim? That's about the numbers we're looking at. So not everyone in addiction. Some folks can go through the system or go through this addiction and not have law enforcement run in. But in December, we just expanded our Kenton County dispatch records. We've entered over 700 dispatch records in our database just since December. And what we're seeing is overdoses are down. We've increased treatment so much. We've expanded naloxone. We're seeing a trend in meth, so it's different. We don't have those critical interception points. We can't get to those crisis measures. So we've expanded that, and Kenton County Dispatch and the whole operation has just been so helpful that we've added things as DUI, glassy eyes, psychosis. And so now we're seeing that the majority of the calls that we're seeing are actually the mental health, the suicide, and the depression. And so that leads me to think that there's a lot more meth out there, but there's also that gap in mental health. The other thing that we're working on, we work closely with NKU, is this workforce gap. We need more healthcare workers. It's a conversation that we've had. That's why the Institute for Health Innovation at NKU is so important. important, and our partnerships there. One thing that they've done is they've moved their social work program online, so they expect by the end of, we're in 2020 now, this year, to double the amount of social workers, because we just need the staff to help these folks through. And so more training, more development, and recruitment. We need some talent in recruitment here. But we have the chamber working on this. We have the Career Center working on this. NKU, St. Elizabeth. When I say we're working together, we are all working together. We are all so passionate, and if we're speaking above each other, it's just because we're so excited with the ideas.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it very much. Can you speed up your presentation?
Yes. Talk a little faster.
Thanks very much. Okay, we now have Andrew Arello who's going to update us on the tank study and reorganization plans. I think I've said that correctly, right? System restructure.
Yeah, thank you. Close enough. Absolutely. We're working on a system redesign. The transportation system, the public transportation system here in Northern Kentucky. Before I get into the presentation, just to give you a bigger overview of where we are. We're going through, looking at the entire system to see how our route structure works, to optimize it. We're in the middle of a public comment period right now. We released our initial recommendations about a week and a half ago. We received about at least 300 comments through the portal that we have, just through Calling Tank and through our email addresses. We had a public meeting earlier this week where we had over 100 folks attend and express some of their questions and concerns with the plan. And I'll walk you through why there may be some concerns and some excitement on both sides when we make change. That usually happens. So here tonight, we're going to give the fiscal court an overview and also just let folks in Kenton County know where we are. And also just globally, you're probably aware that Kenton, Boone, and Campbell counties are the primary funders of the tank system. We provide public transportation for the 3 fiscal courts as a regional agency. So that's another reason why we're here tonight. So again, I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but first to set the context. Where we are is tank has seen ridership declines. We've lost about, and this slide shows you 9% ridership between 2012 and 2017. We lost a couple more percent of ridership since then. This slide is a little bit too small to see on the screen, but it shows our peer cities. It shows cities like Chattanooga, Charlotte, Knoxville, Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, where those peers have lost an order of magnitude more than tank has. It's a national trend. Bus ridership is down. When you have ridership going down steadily over a few years, and you have inflationary costs of the system, the gap to fund the system gets bigger and bigger. That creates an unsustainable situation. The fiscal courts, in working with our board, have said, let's do something to try to put the system on more stable, long-term financial footing. Therefore, these are our goals. We want to reduce the county subsidy per rider. Basically, we want to move more people with the resources that we have. We also want to improve travel time to jobs. That's one of the key metrics that we're looking at. So what do we do to do that? We do a deep dive on our routes. I mean, that's how we provide services, providing bus routes. And fixed route scheduling is a big part of that. We had a consultant who's been working with us for 9 months. They looked at every single route. We did a public involvement process in the summer and August to get some feedback about what folks see in the community. And that has helped us create this first draft of the redesign. This is a key planning concept that helps to educate and influence the recommendations of the design. When you think about a transit network, what we often see are lines on a map, but those lines don't tell you what quality of transit exists on that map. That line may come once a day, or it may come every 15 minutes all day long. That line on the map doesn't show you. So as you get to yellow, it gets better, 20 to 30, and then the blues and the greens are great. Well, what you see is that we have a lot of service that is low frequency, and it's focused in the peak. We have a lot of AM, and we have a lot of PM service. But if you need to use the bus here, you're waiting over an hour to do it. If you need to use the bus in the evening or in the afternoon here, the spread is very long, and it can be difficult for passengers to use. This is what the new plan would look like from a scheduling perspective. You can see it's a dramatic change. It's consistent frequencies. You see a lot more green, you see a lot more blue, you see a lot less orange and red, right? If I toggle back again, that's today. This would be the plan. If you use transit in this core and you have 20 minutes all day, your ability to gonna be a lot better. And the idea is that ridership improves. From an operational perspective, if this was a manufacturing schedule, and you looked at, these were the operational needs that you needed to meet throughout the day in your manufacturing facility compared to this. I mean, this is just a much more efficient operation to run than we're doing today. Or see any of our staff after this meeting as well, we have to talk to you about it. Thank
I'd
you.
like to make a couple comments.
Sure, if I can ask you, the 13th Street building will be used for overflow within a matter of probably 10 days, 2 weeks or so, which will move off of the existing Scott Street Salvation Army property, which is being used for overflow. And then the work when the program shuts down, hopefully at the end of March for winter, then that building would then go into construction phase. So this is the building that is being donated to us by St. Elizabeth. So with that, I ask for a motion to ratify the closing.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We're going to hold off the opening of the Cornerstone capsule until next meeting. We have resolution 20-01A, a couple of budget adjustments, Roy.
We've got three budget adjustments this evening. $50,000 for bank charges. This is in addition to the bank charges for the budget because we've actually been able to move more money over into the investment. So we actually have received $100,000 in interest that we hadn't planned on by increasing our bank charges. Sales tax of $4,000 and then $30,000 for the gas and forfeiture expense with the lease in place. Any questions?
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have one item on the consent agenda. That's an oxymoron. One item. I think so. Exhibit 20-01, surplus computer equipment in our technology services department. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Executive orders 20-01 related to court approving the reappointment of Candace McGraw and Jude Hinman to the OPI board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Order 20-02 related to court approving the appointment of William Snyder as a police officer for the Kenton County Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
With the electronic solid waste voucher on January the 21st, and I hope to have more to report on that in the next meeting, but just a huge thanks to Sarah and Kathy for all their work. I think this is gonna make it a lot more convenient for Kenton County residents to get that voucher and to the very end. An update on Bromley Crescent Springs Road. I think I've reported over the last several meetings that we've got more inertia now than we've had over the last few years. We are one parcel away from clearing the right of way.